Today, Top 30 is the only company in the world able to design, produce, set up and manage a top-level competition. Everything within the same company. Everything with the trustworthiness and professionalism that an official competition requires. Everything. Top 30. Top 30. The heart of climbing.
Welcome back to Briançon. We are here now, we are set up, we are ready to go for our men's final here of 2012. You probably can't see me very well because of the lights, they're astoundingly bright here as they're facing the wall, getting ready. Let's try and move this way a little bit. Is that any better for you guys? I'm going to keep going this way. Let's have a little walk around. I'll show you how dark it is. It might take you away from some of the lights. So we had the phenomenal final earlier. Hopefully you've joined us for the final earlier. There you are. Hopefully you see me a bit better now. The phenomenal final earlier came down to the time. There's a lot of conjecture floating around from some of the coaches and some of the other people I spoke to with the crowd watching about how difficult the route was and how difficult the certification of the route was. Borg, I'm so sorry I'm not wearing the shirt. The shirt's still on, but it's really cold here now because we're so high up, we're at altitude. I've said it before, but I'll say it again, we are 1,326 metres above sea level, so now that it's night time, it's pretty cold, so I've put my hoodie on to keep myself warm. Not so for the climbers though, they're of course going to be in the proper gear that you would want them to be in climbing. We had the women's final, so the top three results for the women's final. Not Mina Markovic, she was fourth. We had Helene Janicot taking the first place position here, taking the gold. Next to her, Johanna Ernst taking the silver medal. And then underneath her, Charlotte Durif. So 2 medals already today for France. And that shows you just what a home crowd can do to you when you're competing in front of your home crowd at any sort of competition with these levels of competitions. Let's take you through the start list now and show you what the route looks like for the men's final. And I'm going to be with you all the way through this. Do say hello to us. Any questions you might have, send them in. Let's have a look at those start lists. Okay, so the start list should be popping up on your screen now. Have a little look at them as they stand at the moment. So we're in reverse order, just as we were with the women's. We've got Stefano Ghisolfi starting us off as he was the lowest qualifier through into the finals. And Jakob Schubert, low there for Jakob Schubert to come through into the finals. Hyun Bin Min, Sean McCall, Romain Digrange, Magnus Mippo, Sachiyama and Ramon Julien Poupelin. So only one French athlete here in the men's finals compared to the women's finals, but they've already had 2 medals so far today. A fantastic start for the French team in front of that home crowd. What are your bets? What are your placements for the finals for the men's? Just to introduce you, we are back with Sheila. Sheila, here she is. I'll say hello to you back at the desk here. Sheila was our commentator last year in Briançon 2011. She's joined me again here now as well because she knows a lot of the climbers personally from going around at the World Cups over the past few years. And so she's going to be with me all the way through the finals. So
I was just having a chat with the Slovenian coach about the women's route, which you've all been talking about on the chat. His personal point of view, which of course is only his, but I think it's shared by quite a lot of us, is that they actually misquoted the route, as in it wasn't as hard as it should have been. And once you get that, then it just becomes a bit of a race for time, or a course après la montre, as they say in French. So
there's definitely been that split with you guys
but
in the chat about the time and the countback issue. I mean, how are you feeling about that one? I've spoke to quite a few people here that think that it shouldn't be done that way, so maybe there's a review there coming up, I don't know. But let's show you the route now for the men's final from the bottom. bring that up on your screen now.
I was just trying to read it from the bottom of the wall, and it looks really quite nasty. But then I said that about the girls, and they just walked it for the most part. But
yeah, I think we both thought that the girls was going to be a lot more intensive than it was. You know, 60 holds there and an 8B in terms of ranking.
Well, is it an 8B? I think that's the question now. But anyway, we'll move on.
Here we are. This is from 8 and 9, counting you up now, following the route up for you. Some new graphics for you, just so you can see exactly where our climbers are going to be and where they're going to go. Obviously, that woman's route has been taken down now, mostly. So we've got much more room.
The bit in the middle, anyway, where you could get confused between the two.
Yeah.
The lower part of it.
But I mean, look just how far over the men's route is coming here onto the women's side. 31st hold is, you know, almost at the edge of the wall on the women's side. Back up across through the middle.
When I first started looking at it, I thought from 35 there was nothing until 39. They were looking for them to jump from there to there. I was like, oh my God, but no, it's fine.
Well, here we are, still counting them up. Remember, guys, that you are the only people that are seeing this graphic. The crowd don't get that here, so they don't get to see just what the route is going to be. I mean, obviously they can see the route on the wall, but they can only guess in terms of what the numbers of the holds are. So these are our numbered holds, 59 in total compared to the 60 for the women's. How are we all in the chat room? Are we enjoying the coverage so far? Are you enjoying being with us in the chat room? For our final here in Briançon, there's a bit of a close-up for you of the final section of the men's route here. Sheila, what were your highlights from the women's final? Just tell us the moments that made it for you.
I think everybody at home heard that the highlight for me was when Jenny Coates won the thing, but that's absolutely not. It's a completely subjective point of view. No, I seriously was very disappointed in the end. It was all a case of, well, are they going to be able to make the final move and get that, keep it and hold it? There was a mistake by Katarina Pusch where she didn't get anywhere near where she should have.
If you are wondering, just to bump away for a second, how I'm talking to all of you guys, you're on this little device, look. So even though you're not actually here, you're here in spirit, look. Can you see your name? Romu. How are you doing? I bet this chat's going to go absolutely mad now.
Salut
But this...
Romu, c'est Sheila. Tu
Hi,
vas bien,
Cam.
mon chéri? Ouais,
There
c'est
you
du
are.
bonheur d'être là, hein, mais il fait froid. Chez toi, je pense
That's
qu'il fait
how
moins
I'm
froid.
talking to you guys. Here, you're here with us in spirit. I've got you here, don't worry. And it's gone dark because we've got a bit of a show going on behind us.
We're going to have a demonstration of high line. It's like tightrope, but it's slack rope, and they're going to do it from the top of the building, from one side of the courtyard to the other.
We'll do our best to cover it, considering how dark it's just gone. But I think there will probably be a light show as well. I think we better turn around, hadn't we? Here we go.
Je crois que ça se passe de commentaires, messieurs, dames. Une ovation pour ces deux artistes internationaux, Cécile. Je voudrais une ovation pour Cécile, s'il vous plaît, le public de Briançon. Et pour son partenaire Roman, allez, tout le monde fait du bruit, s'il vous plaît. La compagnie Flocab. Je rappelle que si vous avez été voir Dracula et Adam et Ève, les deux comédies musicales, vous avez dû les voir dans le spectacle, ils tournent de partout sur la planète. Et c'est pour nous le lien idéal, la grâce et la puissance musculaire. On va attaquer cette deuxième partie de soirée avec la présentation des finales, cette fois masculine.
Female gymnast on a spinning kind of disc thing earlier than whether you saw it start the females finals. So they're putting on a show for us.
Certainly are. A lot of people to be kept happy here in the cold. Lots of people to be kept happy here in the cold.
Indeed, there's so many here as well. And it is freezing now. I've had to put my hoodie on. I think I might have to get a coat in a minute as well. It's starting to get really, really cold here. So, there you are. My producer's going to bring me a coat. That's love, that is. Stefano Gasolfi here, Jakob Schubert, Hyam Bin Min, Sean McCall, Romain Desgrange, Magnus Midbo, Sachiyama and Ramon Julien Pugluang. Those are our 8 golden places in the final here. What did you make of some of these guys, their climbs during the semis, Sheila?
Well, I think the surprise was Jakob Schubert, who didn't look as happy as he usually does. That's the kind of negative surprise, if I can say, but the positive stuff for me is Magnus Midbo, who for me has always been kind of on the cusp of greatness, but not quite there. And he wasn't very happy in qualifiers yesterday. He said he felt quite tired, he was a bit dehydrated, but he had a good night's sleep last night, and he came out fighting today, and he did really well. He was the right Viking. Sean McCall has just come into his own in terms of lead climbing this year. He's known for being a blocker, a boulderer, and he's really been working on his lead climbing, and he's got it all. He's fast, he's nimble, he's very dynamic, and he's a joy to watch. So Sean McCall's my kind of dark horse. But I love Sachiyama, who manages to get 2 stitches in his chin and come back and top his route in between the 2 qualifiers.
I did actually have, this is a source of information that I had from your daughter earlier today. The actual reason that Sachiyama split his chin open was as he came off the wall in that qualification. Oh, there's Jakob Schubert. Oh, this is fantastic. Tell me that they're introducing them in different windows. This would be wonderful. This is brilliant. It's like Guess Who? It's Guess Who with climbing athletes. It's Hyo Bin Min. Who's got the yellow hair card? Turn that one down. Turn the yellow haired card down, because Hyo Bin Min's been already. This is fantastic.
Today. It didn't go with his hair at all.
We definitely don't get introductions like this before. I'm wondering whether they're going to let them have their look at the wall from that house as well. They're going to give them binoculars and leave them in the army barracks.
There he is,
there's Sean McCall.
Look at that smile.
Sheila's dark horse. He's exceptionally strong at the moment. We saw him do speed as well in Chamonix. He wasn't great at speed. He just says it's not his forte, but he just likes doing it.
But he actually was a world champion speed climber when he was a youth A or youth B or something. But it's obviously progressed a lot in that time. Now, there's Romain de Grange. He is going to be looking for revenge after Chamonix when he came off ridiculously low down.
So quickly as well. I didn't even know what to say. I just went quiet.
Real disappointment for him. He really wants to do well today.
Remember, guys, if you are playing Guess Who, that was the hat card. So the person that had a hat card, you can flip that down now as well. We're on to our next introduction. This is the one you were just talking about, Magnus Midtmo. Definitely want to watch out here. What I love about Magnus is that when I was speaking to him earlier today, he was saying that the most important thing for him when he's in a final is to not believe that he's in a final. To just do it for the love of climbing and not get stressed about who he's there
Nothing
with.
to lose.
You know, I suppose that possibly comes from the fact that he's been climbing for so long with Jakob Schubert. Him and Jakob are both very close friends.
They almost look like twins when they're sitting side by side waiting to climb. It's funny.
And there is Sachiyama with his 2 stitches. So if you're playing Guess Who still, you can knock Sachiyama on the chin. He's finished. That was a pun. Did you get the pun?
That's terrible. Well, you know, we're talking about hospital waiting times.
Yeah.
He left here, got his stitches, had a tour of Briançon, came back down all in the space of 25 minutes.
And then topped. And then topped. And that was, of course, Romain-Julien Piblanc, who is the one to watch as well. Jake. It's nice to see you in the chat room. My name's Daniel Finn, and I'll be here all the way through the finals, doing some commentary, and with me is Sheila. What's your last name? McCarron.
Yes.
I'm with Sheila McCarron, who was your commentator here last year in Briançon. She speaks fluent French. She actually lives out here in France now as well. So if the announcers or the judges start saying something that I might not catch or understand, I've got Sheila here to back me up and make sure that we know exactly what's going on so that we can come in and report that to you as soon as it happens. Welcome back. I know, Scott, it's terrible, isn't it? Look, they're having a go at me now, Sheila, for not getting your last name.
Just get my glasses on. What are you saying?
Well, welcome to you if you are joining us in the chat room. It's getting late and it's getting cold here. Up in the Alps in Briançon. We are getting set. That was our introduction for the male athletes, and our male athletes are now making their way around to the stage, and they are going to get ready to have their couple of minutes, a few minutes looking at the routes on the wall.
Une voix ouverte par Didier Angonin, par Romain Cabessu et François Alberto Nero. Voilà, on les applaudit, ils sont là, 6 minutes d'observation.
This is the interesting thing to look at now, the thing that we were talking about earlier, who couples up with who to discuss the routes. Now, I bet you now anybody that Jakob and Magnus are going to be hooking up to have a conversation here.
Mind you, after the semi-finals, I saw Sachi and Jakob discussing the semi together while the girls were finishing off.
Yeah.
So they seem to be quite pally. And,
the other thing to mention, yeah, of course, is Sean McCall and Romain de Grange, who have actually been training together, because Sean is currently living out here in France. So
Sean's French has really come on. Something to do with pillow talk with Mathilde Becerra, perhaps. But
il a fait les demi, il a eu en plus la chance de grimper aux côtés de
Sachi was saying he was really disappointed not to be able to climb against Jakob at Chamonix, because Jakob, as we know, was put out in the semis because of a bit of loose footwork, shall we say, with a bolt. And so Sachi sort of, I think he wants to prove himself, be number one today when Jakob's climbing. It's very important to him.
Well, he's actually just gone up in the world rankings, Sachiyama. He's now currently ranked second, which is fantastic considering he spent so long at third. But after the win last week at Chamonix, he's now gone up to second in the world rankings. Sachiyama with his binoculars.
It is, of course, just the first World Cup of the season, so anything can happen, as they say.
Yeah, we're still very early.
It's certainly unusual not to see Ramon in the top two. He's now dropped down to third, is that right?
Look at our predictions. They're coming true.
Yep.
There is Sean McCall with Romain de Grange. They've been training together. Sean McCall currently living out here in France. And that's why they're coupling up there. And next to them, you can just see them there. Magnus Bitlo and Jakob Schubert. They've been friends since they're about 12 years old. Those are the couplings. It's just
and
interesting.
And Stefano Gazolfi is all on his own in the middle, because we don't usually get Italian men in the final.
Yeah, of course.
How much has he come on this year?
Yeah, Stefano Gazolfi has just kind of skyrocketed. Just starting off now.
He was in 2011, he was 24th in the World Cup rankings, and this year he's 13th. That's fantastic. Very young, of course. We'll see what young legs versus experience can do. I don't know. It could all be down to that. Romain, of course, is a very experienced competitor.
There he is. There's the man that you're talking about there.
So nice of them to give him a parka that matches his hair, don't you think?
Now, what I want to know is how Hyun Bin Min and Romain Julien Pleblanc are having a conversation here, because Romain Julien only speaks Spanish.
English, yeah.
He only speaks Spanish, he doesn't speak English. So maybe Hyun Bin Min speaks Spanish?
Maybe it's just sign language. They're kind of doing what they call the tectonic here when they have competitions on, when they're reading the route, their hands are going up and down.
I like to call it their foray into mime artistry.
Oh, well, there you go. Walking in the wind, is that it?
Look at the crowd that's gathered here. I promised you it would be full. I promised you it would be full, and look at them. I mean, those lights are playing with us, but look at that. You probably could not get another person in here if you tried. I reckon we're kind of matching Chamonix kind of size crowd now, or if not, we're very, very close to it.
It's hard to tell, because all I could see on the IFSC streaming last week was umbrellas.
Yeah. You didn't know how many people were underneath
there,
umbrellas, yeah. So, there's Sean McCall again now.
I just remember Sean last year in Valence, and he made the podium, and he was the happiest bunny on the planet. He was just so made up to get there. Magnus, as I say, he's, I won't do you the song, but, kind of on the edge of glory. There's something there. He just needs to let it loose, and he could really, he's so strong.
I like his mindset towards it, though, about the fact that he is taking it easy and just loving the climbing and keeping it like that. So let's just have a look at the route again now. There it is on your screens. How erratic is this route? It's going all over the wall here. We have 59 holds in total. The route is graded at an 8C+, but then we've had those conversations earlier as well today about whether we trust how the routes have been graded with the 8B that we had earlier. Some people are saying that's no way that's an 8B.
It's like something a 4-year-old would do with their first effort at Etch-a-Sketch, isn't it? It's just all over the place.
Maybe that's how route setters are doing it these days.
It's
just let's get some creativity going on here. Here's some crayons.
Come on.
No, every route.
It's all thought through. It's all thought through. It just shows you how much the women have come on. when they're all like, you know, in a hat at the end.
Yeah. Let's just take a quick look while we're waiting for our male athletes to finish having a look at the wall at the women's gold attempt. So let's bring that up for you. I know a lot of you were with us before. If you weren't, here it is for you again now.
Putting on the clip now.
This is Alina Janiko.
Oh, she's heading for paradise here. I know it's corny, but I don't care. Come on, Elaine. Allez, Elaine, allez.
Hopefully you guys can hear us again
The
now.
crowd are going mental here in the train.
Actually, I'm so sorry.
Allez, allez. Tout en haut, Elaine, allez, allez.
There's no excuse, but we are back now.
Yes. Look at that right hand.
40 seconds. I think it's near 5 minutes 38.
Woohoo! 5 minutes 40, she did it. Oh, she's good. Elaine, she's never been before the top, should I say. She's one of the taller competitors as well. It maybe wasn't as dynamic for her as it might have been for Sasha.
Can't apologise enough for that, but thank goodness we didn't miss Alina. What the route is going to be for the men's. That final hold is rather large, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think they're going to hate it. Because I can't see from here if there's anything on the top that they can grab for.
I can't see anything. They've turned the lights off.
If it is just that big round thing.
Is it a sloper, or do you think there's actually
they have
a...
to fling themselves at it? Are they actually going to be able to hold and stop swinging, stabilise, to be able to put in the rope? I don't know. We'll just
Do you think it's going to be two hands?
It's definitely going to need to be two
I think it's
hands.
going to need to
Come
be.
on,
That's
they
that
go for
swing
one
out
over.
there. The other thing is that it's actually on a bit of a jut out there. You know, there's like an extra little bit of incline there as well, isn't there?
So they're going to have to watch what they do with their legs. Oh, I don't know. Could have bruises. At the same time, there is that. No, I don't know. I wish I could see on top of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it slopes dramatically or whether there's actually a little kind of indent there or something to grab onto.
I'm trying to think, is it something we saw earlier and it was turned the other way up? I'm beginning to wonder if it wasn't the one that the girls had down there, obviously people at home can't see what I'm pointing at, but
to the lower left of the third section at the top, you mean?
Yeah. Section 3, there was it was like a kidney bean, and it was just turned completely, say 90 degrees to the left.
It was kind of vertical, wasn't it, as opposed to the horizontal?
There was a handhold screwed into it, but I can't tell from here if that's what it is.
What it looks like there is that 58 is actually that hold, and 59 is possibly the top of the wall. I'm not sure. Maybe there's another hold up there that we can't quite see.
Hold after that? Well, we can't see it from here either.
Although, of course, we're as close to accurate as we can possibly be with the graphics. That might just be a slip on the graphics.
Et après la jeunesse, Ghisolfi Stefano, l'Italien, très très jeune, junior deuxième année. Pour lui, c'est la première fois qu'il se retrouve.
But as with the women, you'll notice there's a big variety of holds. There's crimps, there's pinches, there's slopers, there's round things, there's volumes where you just have to, I don't know, say your prayers, I guess. But it's...
Do you think after the women's final that they might have actually done some last-minute switching around?
I couldn't possibly comment. And there's a politician's answer for
That
it.
is definitely a political answer there.
I'm taking no risk of hacking anybody off here.
Look at that crowd there. There's the wall.
That ball that's on the edge of the triangular pyramid volume that's in the roof.
That sloper there.
That's going to be an interesting move. They're going to really need to
control the swing out.
Control the swing. Calm down and then do some fiddly stuff with the little crimps that are underneath. Then there's a horrible, well, it looks horrible to me, but crossover between the two green holes that are just under the exit from the roof. So they're going to be left hand onto the one, my reading of it anyway, left hand onto the one that's to the right, crossover with the right hand onto the bigger.
Look, I've got to stop you there, Sheila, because that's the crowd that we've got gathering here. Look at the size of that crowd.
That kind of explains the noise, really, doesn't it?
That kind of explains why we can't hear each other. I'd say it's probably something to do with that, yeah. Guys, just to remind you in the chat room, get onto the IFSC YouTube channel. You can watch all of the past competitions there for free, online. Go and have a look at them. It's well worth checking out previous climbers and previous competitions. Get onto the 24/7 TV Facebook page as well. Give us a like on there and we'll give you some behind the scene pictures, so it's worth checking that out as well. That's ifsc.tv on Facebook. But we've got to bring you back to the wall now because we're off with our first climber, which is Stefano Ghisolfi of Italy. And now in the qualifications yesterday, 35 plus and a 36 plus, and then earlier today in the semi-finals, the thing that earned him this point here in the final, that's a 33 earlier today. Stefano Ghisolfi, worth noticing, only 19 years old.
That's right.
From Torino, world ranked 20th. Hasn't actually got a trainer, but trains almost every day. His personal best on rock is Gandalf Il Grigo, which is an 8B plus. Now this is supposed to be an 8C plus.
Yeah, but that's outdoors.
So there is the difference there as well, I suppose, yeah.
What you need to bear in mind is that he was first in the male juniors lead in the EYC at IMST in 2011, and there was a lot of competition that year in that category. So he obviously knows his way around a wall. I actually don't know an awful lot about him personally, which is to say I know nothing about him personally. But he certainly deserves his place here. The French are sad that we lost Kevin Eglaï, who was just under the cut-off point. Poor guy came out first this morning for the semis. He was 26th, and so he was the first out. And he had to wait virtually till the end to find out if he was in the final or not.
Thomas, I'm sorry, you're going to have to say exactly what you're talking about there with the 8B plus boulder. Are you trying to say the difference between this being a lead and that being a boulder? Couldn't quite understand you with all the capitals that's going on.
I'm just hearing in my other ear François Legrand, who's one of the greatest climbers of all time, French climbers of all time. He's helping out our speaker here. And he's saying that big hold that Stefano just left is a new generation of holds, and none of the competitors are familiar with. So they're all giving them a bit of a prod and a feel when they get up to them to see what they can actually have under their hands. It's quite fun for us. This will be interesting to see how he goes for this next move. It's two small holes and then the big ball on the outside, and he's got a clip on at some stage as well.
Well, there you are. Thomas has brought us up to speed. If you want to catch Stefano Ghisolfi doing that boulder that I was talking about earlier, that's Gandalf Il Grigo. You can get that on YouTube.
Oh, nicely done.
Stefano Ghisolfi, 5th at the Male Junior Lead European Youth Cup in Voiron this year, 4th at Pau last year, 3rd at Moran in Italy on his home turf in 2011.
He was just checking the clock out a second ago. Said 3.5 minutes, 8 minutes for these finals.
Well, here he is on the wall, and there he is, the route that he's now following. That's where he is currently on the route of our 59 holes on the wall here. You can see where Stefano is. You can see the edge on that hole just above him and just how small it is. What are our bets on Stefano Ghisolfi then, people in the chat? Where do we think Stefano's going to get to?
Let's come back to what I said. Left hand on the right hand, crossover onto that one. And up he goes. Nicely done.
que ça devient de plus en plus dur.
C'est la série du micro sur l'arête. Là, par contre, c'est pas bon du tout.
Allez, il a besoin de vous là. Là, Stéphano, là. Oh, il résiste, c'est un guerrier, Stefano Ghisolfi, il est jeune.
Well, nothing seems to be stopping him so far.
No, he's
I'm
good
starting
strength
to get
there.
that kind of almost sinking feeling
that
that we might have a
women's
repeat of the
final
women's finals again.
C'est ça parce que
Oh no, there's a few surprises in store. You watch this last section, it's really
c'est lourd, ça
nasty.
c'est de la dépense aussi supplémentaire.
Famous last words, eh? Let's see.
Where about on this section here that we're looking at, do you think it's going to be the point that separates out the men's? Where's
I
it going
think
to be
that
difficult?
the 51, 2, 3, 4 section is going to be. Plus, they're going to have their arms full of it, and they're going to have to go down from, I think it was 47 to 48. That's nasty too. Don't know. Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
Oh, now
Excellent effort. Brilliant.
a difference, but an applause for Stefano Ghisolfi from the crowd there. 43 on the score there, so maybe not the same that we're going to have with the women's finals. Maybe we'll find a bigger spread in the results of our male climbers. That was only 5 minutes 30 though.
Yeah, he wasn't hanging about, but I think that's a pretty good effort for your first World Cup final, really, as a junior. So it's a good start to the season for him. But again, he doesn't have the experience of some of the other climbers, and they all have such different styles. You can't, for example, compare his style of climbing to Ramon, who has to dyno just about every move on the wall because he's so small, and he just has a completely different style, and he'll have a different solution, and that's what makes it so interesting to watch.
Well, from a relatively younger climber, and first kind of World Cups,
Yep.
to someone who's a little bit more experienced.
Absolutely. I mean, what
Just
a
a
year
little bit,
he
though.
had last year.
That is, of course, Jakob Schubert, who is now approaching the wall for us. How are we in the chat room about Jakob Schubert coming out? Are we psyched for this? We've seen him in a final now after the incident in Chamonix. Do we want to see him do well? Are we rooting for Jakob?
Yeah, but Daniel, he's only 2 years older.
I know, this is the thing, isn't it? This
It's
is the thing
amazing.
that
You feel like you've seen him climb for
sometimes
all your life, don't
it
you?
just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we were talking earlier about the fact that Katharina Posch is only 17.
That's right.
And she's world ranked 4th, you know?
Yes. I'm not quite sure why we're getting comfortably numb for Jakob Schubert. That's probably the last thing he wants to feel right now.
I think he needs a bit more kind of, a bit more excitement. I don't know, maybe that's going to change. Well, Jakob Schubert in the semi-finals, 34, and in the qualifications, 1 top and 139 plus. 21-year-old, born and lives in Innsbruck, world rank number 1, World Cup rank at the end of 2011, number 1, World Cup rank at the end of 2010, second. Currently, though, 2012, he's only in 11th.
Well, yeah, he had that nightmare in Chamonix, as we know, and he didn't, quite frankly, look as unbeatable yesterday and today as we've seen him in the past. I heard a rumour that he's got some problems with his neck, with his cervicals in the neck. I don't even know what that's called in English anymore, but the little bones you get in your neck. So he was having difficulty twisting and turning, but he just seemed quite hesitant about 2/3 of the way up of the semi today, and he came off, and it's just so unusual to see him come off the route. You know, everyone was like looking at each other, stunned silent.
I think it's definitely worth mentioning, though, that Jakob is the reigning champion here at Briançon. He won it last year.
He won it absolutely brilliantly
in 2011.
last year. See, he's rubbing his neck. Did you see? He just rubbed his neck with his right hand. So I think by the
wondering what-
look, he's doing it again.
Now, when I was talking to him, he said that that was due to the cold hands that he's getting up there.
The?
It's cold hands. So he keeps doing it to warm his hands up on his neck. I mean, it is cold here now. And up on the wall, I suppose, with the breeze coming across. Maybe that's adding to it.
Maybe.
But, you know, as we were saying, first at Briançon last year. And, you know, that was definitely Jakob's year.
See, he's checking out this hold as well. The new
Because
hold.
they're not sure quite how it's going to be.
Checking it out.
That's the hold that Sheila was talking about earlier, that the climbers aren't used to seeing. There it is, his hand on it there. So, yeah, last year was definitely Jakob's year. I mean, 7 first-place gold medals last year alone. 5th at Vale in the bouldering this year, 4th at Innsbruck in the bouldering, and 1st at Chongqing this year. So he's making a name for himself on the bouldering circuit as well. Has been climbing since he was 12 years old.
I think we'll be able to see his strength in the next few moves here, because he really has amazing upper body strength.
Well, that's the results as they stand at the moment. We have only had one climber, of course, but we're going to keep bringing them to you and showing you where people have reached. That's the point to beat. The point to beat is 44 on the wall, and that's where Jakob Schubert is at the moment on 22. Making his way up onto the 24th hold. It is definitely getting cold. The temperature has dropped. You know, Teddy, you're just asking how cold it is. It's really cold. I have nothing else to say about that. I could give you a degree, but I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just really cold, which is probably why Jakob is touching his neck so much to warm his hands. Our producer's inside managing the stream, and he's just said he's cold, and he's inside.
Il a l'air d'avoir froid au doigt. Est-ce que vous avez froid, le public? Est-ce que vous pouvez le réchauffer? Ça a l'air d'être un petit peu frais pour Jakob. Allez, s'il vous plaît. Pour l'instant, il n'est pas rentré.
Jakob, obviously not worrying too much about the time here.
No, he's taking a huge rest here. This is what I was just thinking, but I don't know whether it's
currently on 4.5 minutes. What are you saying,
Yeah, there's a lot of work still to do here. I don't know what he's... Like I was saying earlier on, I found he was very hesitant this afternoon. And... Okay, off we go again.
What's the news then, guys? Oh, sorry, Sheila.
So, yeah, I'm just going to say he's one of the bigger climbers, so trying to unfold himself out of that rest is...
a longer way to go.
But,
what are you guys calling it in the chat room, by the way? I want to know what you think this is going to be. Our producer's just said he reckons 47 for Jakob. Are we daring?
Going the other way
daring to mention top?
Ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 la. That's a risky business. Missed out that right-hand handhold altogether. Went straight for the volume on a underpin.
Ouais, Charlie, allez, c'est parti pour Jakob. Allez, passe en mode Monsters.
Here we go. Up to notch on the music.
Now,
get it going.
The DJ's kicked up the music. That's what Jakob wants to be hearing now as he gets into the final section of the wall here. He's on the 3rd section. He's on hold number 39. Fastly approaching the point that Stefano Gazolfi just came up at 44. He's got some AC/DC to electrically charge him up this wall right now.
You're certainly up on your current affairs, aren't you, Daniel? Oh dear.
Producer's just changed his mind. He's saying he's going to top now. He reckons he's going to top. Now, I have to just reiterate to our producer that already today in the chat room, we had people placing bets and then changing their minds. And unfortunately, Mr. Producer, as much as you want to change your 47 call for Jakob Schubert, you called 47, mate. You're stuck with it. What about people in the chat room, though? What are you guys thinking? Are we daring to say top? This is definitely topping music. Guys, just to give you the time, it's currently 6 minutes 50. So he's got to make a move on here. And of course, Graham in the chat room is having this whole conversation about the boulderers being tougher than the lead climbers. Because in the bouldering in May last year, they had to climb in the snow.
Il y en a un qui joue avec le chrono.
I'm not even climbing and this music has got me pumped. This is exactly
So
my
we've
kind
got
of music.
30 seconds left.
He has 30 seconds left, guys. It's 7 minutes 30 on the clock. The crowd know it. I don't know whether Jakob does, but they're trying to push him. They're trying to get him up that wall.
He's never going to do this in 20 seconds.
10 seconds,
10
guys.
seconds,
The commentator's trying to drive him now.
5.
Don't stop to shout, Jakob. Come on, you can do this. And that's it.
Time up.
That's it.
Finish, Jakob. You have to go down, please. Applaudissements pour Jakob Schubert.
Well.
Et là, c'est important de le faire
Nice wave there from Jakob Schubert, but such a shame to have to stop him there at 8 minutes. And Jakob's feeling it. You can see it on his face. I really do believe that in that instance, you should let the climber finish just to see what would happen, just in case it comes to those ties now. Because what if a climber gets there in less time, you know, and it is allowed to carry on? Jakob,
I was having this conversation with the Austrian coach earlier on. There's a lot of debate. It's not negative or positive. There's a debate about this whole time issue. And he was saying you could get someone who gets up to, say, 0.42 or something, and it comes off it really quickly. Someone else who gets to the same point, you know, the fact that they get there slower, does it mean they're a lesser climber? No, it doesn't. It just means they have a slower style. So if someone comes off, I'm talking within the time limit, say it's 6.5 minutes and 2 people come off at the same point. The first guy comes off at 6 minutes 30, the other guy comes off at 7 minutes 10. Does that mean the 6:30 guy is a better climber? No, it doesn't. They both came off at exactly the same point. So it's a huge debate. It's going to change. They might actually put in this new rule and then decide that it doesn't fly and come back on it later on. Who knows?
Yeah. For me, I'm definitely in that first camp. I believe that they you know, we're all here. You know, Corey's just said it in the chat room as well. We are all here to see brilliant climbing.
Yeah.
And to have to stop when Jakob was just so on form, then looked so strong. You know, even when the crowd started pushing him to get there, he was moving faster.
Sure, but it's an 8-minute route.
But the excitement stays the same. The excitement stays the same. It is a sport, we have to stop it, so we're going to move on to our next climber and see what we're going on here with Hyun Bin Min now. He scores earlier today in the semi-finals for a 34 plus, and his qualification results are a 34 plus and a 44 plus. World ranked number 8. World Cup ranking in 2011 was 8 as well. World Cup rank at the end of 2010 was 14th, but currently this year standing at 9 from his 9th place at Chamonix just recently. Last year, Briançon, 5th place here, was in the final last year, and worth mentioning, two times an Asian champion, and was also an Asian continental champion in 2010.
He's got a lot of experience. He's another 2 years older than Jakob. It's going to be very interesting because as we go up through the climbers, there's several interpretations of what we just saw from Jakob. Either he's not on form and he's taking a lot more rest than he normally does because he's not on form, yeah, or it's a long route and 8 minutes is a struggle to get through it. You know, it's technically difficult. So we'll need to see what the others make of it. He's certainly hesitating. Min is hesitating a lot less with that new handhold. He's just gone for it and carrying on. Whereas Jakob spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, making sure of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm disappointed to hear that in the chat room, Grey Boy.
Oh, that's just an unlucky slip.
To bring you back onto the wall there.
Yeah, that's,
that hold, maybe it was not figuring out, not taking longer on that new hold.
No, he was fine on that. He'd held it well. He was on his way up. Or so I felt.
Mais bon, on lui fait une ovation parce que
I thought his foot just went, no?
dans sa carrière, ce jeune homme, et un jour ça passera, c'est sûr.
But what a shame. But that is Hyun Bin Min now off the wall.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed with that.
And here's the crowd wrapping themselves up warm to fight against the cold that is now settling in on us. This is what we have to beat so far. Currently Schubert holding the goal place position despite being called off the wall for surpassing the 8-minute time limit at 49th. The 49th hold there, and Stefano Gazolfi currently in second with the 44th hold there. Hyun Bin Min not on this section of the wall because of that unfortunate incident just on the first section.
And now, of course, we've got Sean McCall, who's known for being one of the faster climbers on the circuit, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with it. Obviously, Canadian Sean, you can see from his shirt, but he's been more or less adopted by the French climbing fraternity because he lives here now and very popular on the circuit.
So Sean McCall comes out onto the stage. And we get set to see Sean climb now. World ranked number 6th, Sean McCall. 6th place currently on the world rankings from last year. World Cup ranking 2011 was 6th. World Cup ranking at the end of 2010 was 43rd. What a jump in a year there. From World Cup ranking in 2010 as 43rd up in 2011 to 6th place. World Cup ranking 2012 currently stands at 3rd due to his 3rd place, his bronze medal at the Chamonix competition last week. 24 years old, Sean McCall. He's a training junkie.
Yes,
obsessed
absolutely.
with training, and he tailors his training as well depending on what competition he's going to go up for. Currently having to switch from the more bouldering orientated training onto the lead orientated training. 2nd at Vale and 3rd at Innsbruck this year in the bouldering though. Has been doing a lot of resistance and endurance training recently in preparation for this lead season. But has been living in Chamonix for the past month with his girlfriend Mathilde Becerra, another very well-known climber, and has been climbing, as we said earlier, with Romain de Grange. Our next finalist up, actually, Romain will be out next. And that's obviously paid off for the two of them climbing together, because look at them, they're both here in the finals.
Look at the strength there, that's amazing.
Buster Martin, happy birthday. Can we get a happy birthday for Buster Martin in the chat?
There are times when you actually feel like Sean is just like floating up from one hole to another. It's incredibly...
But remember, in Chamonix, he started off this strong in Chamonix, got to that one point on the wall, and then it just all went wrong for him in that 1 second there. So it could happen, I don't know.
Says a lot for the guy, though. He was definitely known for his bouldering. Then he said, right, I'm going to have a go at lead climbing. And he, as you said, tailored his training to go for that, and had a blinder of a season last year.
Well, his results from the semi-finals earlier, just to recap them for you, were 34 plus. In the qualifications, no tops for Sean, a 40 and a 46 plus, but we had very few tops in the qualifications. In fact, the only man that topped out on both of the qualifications routes was Romain Julien.
Look at that! Oh, I love you, Sean.
Sean McCall just hanging out there with one arm, one hand on the wall.
Gotta love that.
It takes a pause, anyway. But look how quick he's done it. It's 2.5 minutes and he's already at the rest point, just having a bit of a chill.
Of course, now he needs to unfold himself from where he is. That's a great close-up, isn't it? You can see actually that ball isn't quite as round as it looks from down here, but it's still horrible.
26th hold currently, Sean McCall.
He's gone for the, there we go.
Look at that. Did you see that pinch grip that he's got going on there on the right hand?
He's just skipped that whole right hand section altogether. He's going another way.
Give us a recap of the rules for that, Sheila. Is he allowed to do this?
Yes, he's completely allowed to do that. The route setters and the judges are now going, oh God, we need to renumber the whole thing. So, oh, look at this rest. That's unique. The rest position is amazing.
We need to come up with some sort of pun for Sean's name. Like Sean McWall or something. Some sort of pun. I was calling him the machine in Chamonix because he does every single type of discipline.
I think most of the women would be saying it could be Sean McCall me anytime you like. Allez, Sean. There he goes, he's on the right hand set now. He's done it all his own way so far. And you don't want to hurry past those micro holds, and he needs to actually jump for that, which Schubert just stretched across and got. Checking the time there. He's just put his hand up and said 5. He had a quick look at the timer down at the bottom and he wanted to check.
5 minutes, 13 seconds currently.
So he's got 3 minutes.
Sean currently on the 40th hold on the wall.
Ça m'a aidé vraiment de taper ce petit raccourci, on va voir. J'ai entraîné pendant 2 mois à Cham. Là c'est marrant parce qu'on le voit tenir le volume avec l'avant-bras.
Blowing out his cheeks to getting some energy back in, and now he's off for his final section.
Je les assure qu'il peut l'attendre, Il y a énormément de types de mouvements où il est rando, McCall. Il a sorti la voie demi-finale.
This last section, Sean's bouldering experience should help him a lot, because this is all the kind of stuff you get in bouldering.
6 minutes and 4 seconds now on the clock, guys. I'm going to keep updating you the time as often as I can. 6 minutes 10 now.
Oh, lovely.
Well within doing this, though. That's as it stands at the moment. Jakob Schubert, 49. Stefan Gazolfi at 44 and Heilbin Min at 15, so not on here now. Not on the wall as we're looking at it. Sean McCall currently on 44, which puts him equal second now with Stefano Gazolfi.
Allez, Sean, allez. Elles ont un nom spécial, ces prises, François, tu sais.
He's placing his hand up higher up on the holder, lower down. He's going to try and match onto that hold. Straighten up and head across. That's a nasty move, isn't it? This is the one I said to you is going to maybe be a bit of a problem, because depending on how he's read it, in theory he's supposed to come down and then go left, but he might.
I think he's going to push onto the top of that pentagon and try and reach.
I think he's going to jump for that one.
Yeah, I think we might be about to see a dyno here. If he can get that foot onto the top of the pentagon there.
That's definitely what he's looking at.
It doesn't make sense for him to come down.
It's a risk, a huge risk. No, he's coming down, he's coming down.
QWE Magnus has not climbed yet. Magnus is still to come.
Oh, fantastic job. Well, he's happy with that.
Sean gets a round of applause from the crowd there. Just not enough. Took some different routes. Tried some different ideas there to what we've seen in some of our other climbs. Didn't stick to the route at all. Bypassed an entire section of one part of the route and then was about to do the same thing again but slipped. There is the crowd showing Sean just what it means.
Well, that's the guy who came out and enjoyed his run.
Absolutely. He just loved climbing.
You know what you were saying about
He's
Magnus?
still laughing now. He doesn't mind at all.
No, he loves it. That's the stuff he
Well, that
loves.
was 7 minutes 28 seconds, that one.
La prochaine fois, on va t'appeler Charlotte Durif. C'est assez rare qu'il joue aussi tard dans la voie.
Alors j'en profite là pour parler.
I think that proves that it is a long route.
Definitely. And I think he was trying to save time and effort there by bypassing a few
Shortcuts.
bits. It's going to be interesting to see whether some of our other climbers are going to do that.
Come
Interesting
on, it's
question
over.
in the chat room.
Yeah.
Interesting question in the chat room from Jock asking about the holds. Now that it's getting late, are the holds going to start getting damp? Are we going to start seeing a problem with the holds being damp now with the chalk on them? Yeah,
There
the
is
chalk, of course, will absorb the water, but by doing that, the chalk's then going to clog.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get the problem of some of the holds
They get clumpy.
getting clumpy,
Yeah.
and we don't want that. I imagine, I
Oh,
wonder whether they will actually stop for a clean. I doubt they will.
There is a dampness to the air, but then there's a lot of lights on this wall as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the damp handhold issue, you can pose it at 9 o'clock in the morning when they start the qualifiers and what have you, because most of the time the wall's been up overnight.
It's
But
been inactive as
they
well.
they just put these holds up, so.
Yeah.
So
Romain Desgranges is not the oldest competitor in the final, but nearly. He's born the same. He's 1 year younger than Ramon, who'll be the last to come out. Hugely experienced. Sometimes unlucky in competitions, but he has a huge talent, absolutely huge talent.
But we are now with Romain Desgranges, 36 in the semi-finals earlier today, 39 plus and a 45 in the qualifications. Born in Sante Colombe, world ranked 5th, World Cup rank at the end of 2011 was 5th, and World Cup rank in 2010 was 11th, but currently standing at 8th this year on the World Cup ranking so far after Chamonix, because he was 8th in Chamonix, in the finals, and we had that moment where I just didn't really know what to say, because he started on the wall and then all of a sudden he was off the wall.
Yeah, I frankly blinked and missed it. I didn't see what happened.
But Romain Desgranges, 8th at Chamonix recently, 4th at Crange in 2011, and 7th at Briançon here last year. So again, another one that was in the final here last year. Worth mentioning, he's the reigning French league champion, 2012.
Sorry?
Reigning French league champion.
Absolutely. He beat Manu Romain into second place that day. It was at my club's wall at Arnas near Lyon. And the young Thomas Johannes earned himself a place at the World Championships that day by being on the podium, and he's only 16. So, no, it was great, because it was a long time coming for Romain.
Guys, I've got to say to you guys in the chat, there's a lot of talk going on at the moment about the music that's going on here, and a lot of other just general moaning. Are we not surely enjoying the show? We are in Briançon watching the male lead final at the moment now with Romain Desgranges, who is currently at the world ranked 5th. We've just at the world ranked 6th. Jakob Schubert, our number 1, has just come out as well. Music is important when you climb. I believe that completely, and I will talk about it till the cows come home. But let's talk about Romain and what he's doing here. I want to see some opinions.
Et lui, c'est plutôt un grimpeur tonique quand même. Il fait comme Manu Romain, comme nos Français en fait chez les garçons.
Romain's not taking much of a rest there. Sean McCall spent quite a while on that ball. Sorry, but Romain's just
Allez,
much
Romain, s'il vous plaît, pour Romain
carrying on.
Desgranges, le public. C'est excellent.
Romain Desgranges currently on 31. That's his hold at the moment. In a minute, when he gets onto the 3rd second of the wall, might show you the routes and what's going on there.
Attention, le public, s'il vous plaît, allez.
He's wrapped himself around the volume to get past that move. That was nicely done.
Really good point from Carlos and Philly. It does look like he's going to do exactly what Sean McCall's doing here. Is he going to bypass that section of the route?
No, he did it. He just did it. Just a bit on the right. He just went up
did he
that
go
way.
round?
Yeah, he went
Oh,
round
right, I
it,
must
yeah.
have just missed that.
But he
I'm
came
gonna look at you
out
guys
of
in the chat.
the ball slightly differently.
Right, okay. So not quite the same tactic that we saw Sean
En demi-finale,
McCall do
plus à l'aise.
moments ago.
Ils ont fait bien les prises, ils avaient calé, descendu. Bon, il s'est fait un petit aller-retour pour ça qui va coûter cher.
Romain Desgranges and Sean McCall have been training together recently.
C'est notre seul Français, bravo Romain Desgranges.
Now that Sean's over here in France, crowd giving our only French athlete in the males finals all the support they possibly can.
Allez Romain.
And I have to agree with you guys in the chat as well about how small some of these holds are. They are just mind-blowing, the size of how small some of these holds are, Sheila.
he's wasting no time here. I'm just quite impressed because he's not known for his speed. He's not known for being a slow climber either, but he seems to be pacing this really well. Speaking of which, while he's having a little rest, a little tidbit, one of the French Cups, which again was at our club, he and Hélène Janicot were the two last climbers, him for the men obviously and her for the women, but they came out at the same time and they touched the final handhold at exactly the same time. Synchronized climbing, and the place went wild. It was a fantastic atmosphere.
So, okay, from board, question in the chat. Do you have to touch a hold or hold it in order to control the point? I.e., if Sean had dynoed and touched the hold before a fall, he technically would have skipped clips. And what's the ruling on that?
Let's read that one again.
While Sheila has a little look at that, I'm just going to take you back onto this because this is how the rankings stand at the moment. Sean McCall, a 50 plus there. Jakob Schubert with a 49.
Well, Bart, my understanding is that as long as he could clip on without having to climb down, it would have been fine. But in any case, if you look, the last clip-on point is the one that's above this sort of big donut, and Sean had clipped on there before he went and did the dynamo. Unless you're talking about the one, no, but in any case, he had done all the clip points before then, so.
Alors on a déjà passé plus de la moitié de cette finale masculine, il nous reste 3 grimpeurs à faire leur entrée. Lui, il a fait premier podium de sa carrière en Coupe du Monde.
Well, Romain de Grange there with 44, which was the same I think as Stefano Ghisolfi. So that would surely then go to countback if they were the two highest in terms of our rankings so far. And the countback would rule that Romain de Grange would have it. That's oh, actually saying I think Romain's further on. Ah, right, okay. So, just say it again for us, Sheila, so everyone can hear.
I was just saying, Romain might have come off at the same place as Stefan, but Sean McCall had gone a lot further over because Romain, he came off on that
no, I was talking about Stefano Ghisolfi. Both of them are on 44. So let's try and have a look at the countback, and the countback would rule that Romain would take it because of his score in the semi-finals of 36, and Stefano, with his score in the semi-finals, is 33. Would mean that Romain would take that place if no other climbers got as high.
But in the meantime, it's Sean that's leading.
Okay, tell us about Magnus Midtbo.
Magnus Midtbo is an absolute Viking. And kind of always the bridesmaid, never the bride in a sense, because he's there or thereabouts. He's very often in the final. And I said he's, for me, on the edge of glory in the sense that I think he could just break through. He's 23, he's got a lot of experience. He's very good friends with Jakob Schubert. I think they train together as often as they can. And he's got a lot of upper body strength. He's got a very good natural rhythm. And it'll be interesting to see, I know he's got a lot of resistance as well. It'll be interesting to see how his style suits this route and vice versa. I'll be interested to see how his approach to the exit from the roof is, because it's he's smaller than Jakob. He's got, I just think he might do this quite a different way. Yeah, he's a bit shaky for now. He's not quite in it. That right leg's giving a bit of a tremble.
Come on, Magnus, come on. Allez,
So Magnus Midtbø of Norway score in the semi was a 36 plus. The qualification score for him was a 39 plus and a 45, and that's what's brought him here into our Magic 8 in the final. 23-year-old athlete, lives in Oslo, 5th at Chamonix recently, 9th at Cranch in 2011, 5th at Perth in 2011, and 3rd at Chamonix in 2011 as well.
I'll just apologise again for my lack of experience of doing this with as a twosome, should I say, because we can't actually hear what each other are saying. So
It is very...
I'm looking at the wall and Daniel's talking away. I can't actually hear it. So sorry if we're talking over each other.
It's very, very loud here, definitely.
Magnus waving to the crowd there to get them going. Did you see that? Brilliant.
In response to what Corey was saying there, that is a rule about being safe with the clipping. We were talking about Z clipping earlier, and you know, Magnus was talking about how he did that in the qualifications. The clips do have to be in order. You have to clip in, safety first when you're climbing. I was talking to Pierre-Henri, who's the IFSC secretary earlier today, and he was saying that, you know, what the best things about climbing is that it's just such a well-received sport. You know, however old or young you are, it's very easy to get up and give it a go and to start getting that feeling of satisfaction of being able to top a route, because the routes are graded in terms of difficulty. So, you know, it can be easy for people to start climbing. But then he said also that the worst thing, of course, is that it can be extremely dangerous if it's not done properly, and if the clips aren't there, if you're climbing out on rock as well, that's also a problem. You know, even in the qualifications earlier today, we had the injury to Sachiyama, earlier yesterday, sorry, and his chin that happened there. It's not uncommon to see injuries. We had Shalagina in Vienna that did ligament damage on her knee and had to be stretched off in the final in Vienna. I don't know whether any of you guys saw that one. We had Ray Sugimoto in that same final who twisted his ankle but still came out and carried on climbing. All of the girls' fingers at the end of Vienna as well were bleeding. So that's the kind of commitment that these climbers go through here to come and perform for us.
Well, I said to you, I reckon Magnus would find his own way out of the route, and he certainly did. He's on the next section now. Just to go back to this business about clipping on and everything, one of my favourite heads of jury, said to us when we were doing our judges training, just remember always that a route is not a succession of handholds, it's a succession of clips.
Okay, so an interesting question to climb in the chat room, and one I want to pose to all of you here. Who do we think is going to take this? Who's going to win? I want to put that one out there. The next Boulder Championships around will be in Munich very shortly. The final Boulder one of this year. Magnus currently on the 40th hold.
And looking really relaxed, he's waving at the crowd. The speaker's saying, Magnus, we love you. He's smiling. He's enjoying himself.
He did say,
what you were looking for.
He did say earlier that that's the thing that he was going to do in the finals.
Maybe it's going to be his night. I hope that's not the commentator's curse. Come on, Magnus, you deserve this, man. Come on. Not happy with his thing. I can understand why. Have a rethink.
That was the thing that he was saying he was going to do. Just enjoy. He's coming down the wall.
Yeah, he's having a rethink. He's regrouping.
But that
he wasn't happy with his feet, so he's even pulling his shoe back on now.
It was that he was going to enjoy the final no matter what and just enjoy the climb, and that's exactly why we're here in the chat room watching these guys. We just want to see some brilliant climbing. Schlumpf again, 6 minutes 30 now on the clock for Magnus Midtbø. 6 minutes 30.
Completely changed his fitting there, that's much better. Just don't forget that clip.
6 minutes 40 now, but still within the amount of time. He's got plenty of time to get there.
That's brilliant what he just did there.
Allez, maintenant on va l'emporter jusqu'au sommet de la voie. Parce que vu les premiers pas, il a l'air d'être plus tôt ce soir, Magnus Pitbull.
Crowd really getting behind Magnus Pitbull now as he makes it into the 7 minutes 10 seconds.
He's really putting on the show, that's why. Come on, Magnus.
He's making it into that higher section of the wall now. 7 minutes 20 seconds now on the clock. He's got 40 seconds, the crowd knew it. And I think Magnus suddenly knew it and went for that hold maybe a little bit too early. Maybe that was because the crowd were egging him and he thought, I've got to go for this all of a sudden, but it kind of looked like the only point on the wall where he wasn't just completely enjoying himself when in the zone.
Yeah, but did you see the angle he was lying at?
It was quite intense, wasn't it?
It was one of those commitment moments, really. They call that a mouvement engagé in French.
A fantastic climb. There from Magnus Pitbull of Norway. Start bringing up some results for you in just a second. There he is giving us a wave. As we get ready for our next climber to come out. This is the one that we've had quite a bit of conversation with you guys about in the chat, but there's how it stands at the moment. Now Magnus was between 49 and 48, I think, there, so that should theoretically put him in third.
Can I just remind you who my dark horse is at this stage?
Have we not had? Oh, is it not on there either? Okay. We haven't had that one either yet, so we're going to wait and see what goes on there. But as I was saying, we're going to be talking next about Sachi Ama. As Sachi Ama takes his place on the stage. You can see there by the shadow just how thin Sachi Ama is, but all muscle, all toned. 36 plus in the semi-finals earlier today. Yesterday a score of 39 plus and a top. The 39 plus was the one that cost him and gave him that little plaster that you can see there on his chin and his 2 stitches. He went away to hospital for 2 hours, came back.
25 minutes.
Oh, how long?
25
minutes, and then came back and topped the second. Sachi Ama, 22 years old, born in 1989 in Toshigi, lives in Utsunomiya-shi. If any of you are joining us from anywhere around these areas, do shout out. Let us know you're here supporting Sachi. He's just been bumped up to world rank number 2, pipping Ramon Julien, who's our next climber, into that spot. World Cup rank 2011 was 3rd. World Cup rank in 2010 was 5th. But currently on our circuit, he is 1st due to that gold medal that he had last week in Chamonix. I don't want to start talking about music again, but I am loving the fact that we're back onto Queen. But we're not going to talk about music anymore.
One of these days, Charlie will play something from this century. I keep asking him, but...
Worth mentioning as well, Sachi Ama 4th at Briançon here last year.
Yep.
Another one from the final. In fact, we've had a very similar final in the men's this year to the ones that we had last year.
Yeah.
Ramon Julien was in the final last year. Sachi Ama was in the final here last year. Ramon Desgrange was in the final here last year.
The missing piece of the puzzle is Manu Romain, who's the local climber, and he was on the podium last year. But he had a problem with his abdominal muscles. At the Open Games, he had me going telling me it was when he was paragliding, but actually it was when he was doing some bouldering at the Open Games down in Millau, which is in the southwest of France. And he hasn't climbed for 3 weeks, and he only got the doctor's go-ahead yesterday to actually climb. On Thursday. So he had a go, and he managed to get into the semis. Notwithstanding.
That was a ripped abdomen, wasn't it?
Eh?
A ripped abdomen?
Yep. And then, well, he just couldn't take any chances in the semis, so...
Oh, here are your top 3. You did call it, Sheila, so well done. She called the McCall. Sean McCall currently standing in the gold medal spot there with 50 plus. Jakob Schubert now no longer in the running for the gold medal with a 49. There's the scores as they stand at the moment. Sachiyama currently now on the wall on the 25th hold here.
You notice that nobody has approached that ball-shaped handhold in the same way. None of them.
Just avoid it at all costs.
No, they've all just approached it differently. He went and did the two hands and the kind of no foot thing and then started himself and turned round, and other people tried to do it a bit more statically. It's,
Sachiyama 4th at the bouldering in Chongqing this year, and of his top 12 results, there's not one of them below 4th. Just to give you some sort of idea of the caliber of climber you're now watching.
So he's going to pull himself off with the rope there because he had his foot on it. So far, Sachi is actually doing it the way the route setters expect it to be done.
What are our bets then on Sachiyama? Do we think we're going to see a top here? We have not seen anyone up to that point with that final dyno that we were talking about earlier yet, onto that last hold. It would be amazing to see Sachi do that here. 59 holds on the wall here. It's a 15-meter wall, and the grading on this men's final route is an 8C+.
Yep.
Sachiyama is currently at 3 minutes 55 seconds, and that's where he is on the wall.
Allez, c'est bientôt la fin de ces finales. C'est l'avant-dernier grimpeur. Il est dans la deuxième partie du mur Pierreuf. Un mur qui ne bougera pas, un mur qu'on adore ici, voir briller dans la vallée. S'il y a des derniers encouragements avant les podiums, bien sûr.
4 minutes 25 seconds now on the clock for Sachiyama. He's on the 40th hold. He's still got so much time to use here.
He may well need it.
He's been very, very quick getting to this point on the wall.
Yeah.
So this is the only time that we see Sachiyama not smiling.
I know, he's just a permanent grin, isn't he? But he's very concentrated, he's very determined, he wants this. He's got Jakob Schubert in the final, he knows that he can win this. And that's really what he wanted to do. It's his big rival. They're friendly, it's a friendly rivalry, but he really wants this. He wants him to win with Jakob in the final.
5 minutes 10 now on the clock. Sachi, I'll keep giving you those updates.
Yeah, he's got a slight height advantage on Sean McCall here. If he can make the next move down successfully. Here he comes. Oh, fantastic. There it is. He's gone into the lead.
Well, there he is, surpassing Sean McCall on the wall. He's now to the 52nd hole.
Oh, he doesn't stop
But
it.
it was enough, Sachi. That grip on the head. He's back to smiling again.
Yeah, that's it. It's all over.
Sachi, it was enough. Don't worry too much. 5 minutes 50. He did that in 5 minutes 50.
Yeah.
He surpassed Jakob Schubert's point on the wall.
Yeah.
Jakob Schubert, who was called down for surpassing the 8-minute time limit. Jakob, and now Sachiyama, 5 minutes 50. At the 53 plus there on the hold.
It's like he can't believe it himself.
What an amazing climber.
Ils ont eu plus de 70 dons du sang. Ils remercient tous les donneurs. Félicitations à vous. Record battu par rapport à l'année dernière.
But this is the moment that we have been waiting for, the moment that we've been building up to. The only man to top both of the problems, the routes there in the qualifications, with a score of 42 plus in the semis, which is also the highest that any man got in the semi-finals as well. No tops in the semi-finals for the women's or the men's today, earlier today, but the highest score was the 42 plus from Ramon Julian Piblanque, the 30-year-old athlete from Spain, currently world ranked number 3. World Cup rank at the end of 2010 was first. And on our World Cup rankings so far this year, he's second due to coming second at Chamonix. He was third here at Briançon last year. He was also second at Chamonix last year.
Sachiyama's signing autographs here. I wouldn't be able to hold a pen after that, you know. Well, it'd be a brave man that bet against Ramon to win this. I said Sean, but it was my heart talking. Sean, at worst, is going to end up third here, I think. At best, second, obviously. Sachi's first for the moment, and you couldn't take it away from him if he won it with that. But Ramon is such an exciting, dynamic climber.
And he's so small.
Yeah. I remember someone saying to me, it was John before he actually got his gastro thing, saying, you see Ramon and you feel like saying, oh, the poor wee thing, you want to buy him a pie. Which is such a West Coast thing to say.
But then you watch him climb.
And then you see him climb and you think, good grief.
Then you watch him climb. And as I was saying to people that win things in the chat room earlier, you want to buy him a cake.
Yes, yes.
Romain Julien Poublanc, 30-year-old athlete, second at Chamonix this year, first at Barcelona and Valence in 2011.
Always guaranteed a show with Ramon. Quite often you get him doing no foot moves because he can't actually reach the foothold that other people can reach. He hasn't got the strength, the length.
Look at the muscle tone
on
the forearm there. It's just unbelievable.
His forearms are like my thighs, but with more muscle, obviously.
But he's an exceptionally strong climber. You just feel safe in a way watching Romain Julien climb.
Yeah, you're never sort of thinking, oh my God, will he make it? Will he make it?
You know, you're safe with him until the point where he comes off, really.
Yeah.
It's just like, he just looks fixed.
Yeah. Are you looking for me to disagree with you? Because you're going to be disappointed.
Huh? No, not at all. I don't mind. Here are some results for you as they stand at the moment. Sachiyama with a 53 plus, Sean McCall with a 50 plus, and Jakob Schubert, who must surely be gritting his teeth right now. The 49 score there on the 49th hold, and there's Romain Julien, currently on the 18th, climbing his way up. Let's see how high he can get.
voir les podiums. J'espère que vous resterez avec nous au moins le maximum de gens possible pour les mettre en valeur. Je vous rappelle qu'on a deux Françaises sur
Corey, interesting point. The crowd is massive. We will show you a shot of the crowd in a little while. The crowd is huge. I think we are challenging Chamonix for the turnout here.
Let's see how he does this, because that's a big move for him. Certainly checking it out before he goes. How can you... Oh. He's just done a no foot on something most people would consider to be a foothold.
Donc il y aura l'Argentin ABC mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi. Les finales de Coupe d'Europe de bloc, ça faisait longtemps qu'on n'avait pas retrouvé un événement de bloc en France.
Time for a little rest.
Un truc super à voir, le micro-table, les poussins, les benjamins et les minimes, tous les jeunes. Et puis une Coupe de France senior. Là, il va falloir l'aider un peu, Ramon. Entre l'Argentin et Briançon au niveau escalade, dans cette fois on parle, il y a des amoureux.
Currently on the 27th hole. Point where we have seen some of our climbers pause. Take a respite.
I think we're going to have another feet in the air moment. No, he's going the other way.
Corey, great on this one. An 8C plus. Well, there's the crowd. Corey, again for you, as we were talking about that.
He doesn't look too happy with this volume here.
You can see the size of it there stretching back.
Allez, on va l'aider à se redresser. Celle-là, elle est bien plus confortable. Ça, c'est marrant, parce que quand on
think the reason no one's cheering is because they're all fascinated by watching Ramon Julian climb. As I just got caught up myself, I was halfway through sentence, then I just started watching Ramon. Just want to see what happens next.
Il a quand même l'air de souffrir un petit peu. Ouais.
C'est pas l'ascension la plus facile de Ramon. Avec dehors froid, quand on voit la tête du juge à côté de nous qui est encapuchonné total. Allez s'il vous plaît, allez c'est le dernier. Venga Ramon, venga. Tout le monde.
36th hold now. Time on the clock, guys, is 4 minutes 55 seconds. Which means he's into his final 4 minutes.
Venga. Attention, attention à ces mouvements-là pour lui, c'est loin.
Again, like Sean, this is a jump for him compared to Jakob Schubert, who just reached out and his hand was on it. Oh, Schubert! Oh, good grief, Sachiyama has won 2 World Cups in a row. He won at Sham and that's him one here as well. Sachiyama wins.
The same thing has happened twice. We've just had Ramon Julian come off. No, Ramon Julian was second. Ramon Julian was second at Chamonix this year.
Yes.
I think we're getting confused. Was it Ramon de Grange?
No, I'm saying Sachi
Oh, but Sachi being first.
has won
Yes, absolutely.
2 World Cups in a row.
Yeah, Sachiyama takes first again here in Briançon. And now I have to go off hunting. Nighttime has settled. The commentators come out.
You're going off interviewing, are you?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's obviously going to be some wrap-up time here with the award ceremony and what have you. I'll just fill in for Daniel, who's off autograph hunting, well, interview hunting. Obviously wanted to speak to the climbers that have just come off. I can see Magnus Mitba, I can see...
Voilà, comme dit Philippe, 50 centimes ou 1 euro, ce que vous voulez.
Well, I'm here with Sean McCall.
Regardez les événements gratuits.
I just have to collar you. I didn't even ask you then whether I could have an interview, did I? I just came and grabbed you.
It's okay, I'm always down, it's okay.
We're going to walk over here a little bit, I think, so we can get a bit of better light. Come on.
Dans les rues de Briançon, avec un concours de photos et de vidéos.
That's a bit better with blue lit.
Grande et belle histoire aussi ce festival.
How was the climb for you?
Well, it was funny, after watching all the girls climb for a really long time on the route, I was like, I didn't even think it's possible for me to climb for 8 minutes. So, I don't know, I was up on that route, I got down and I was climbing for 7.5, which for me is astonishing. Just put it out there. Usually I'm done my route in 3-4 minutes, but it was just because the style suited me really well. I mean, the whole bottom was like, it was precise, but you're climbing on volume, just a little bit of compression. And I got to the middle, and then yeah, I did that weird figure 4, and you're not getting pumped there. It's all on my legs. I blocked my hand, like I was just sitting there really. And then the whole route, it was just like I get to another jug, and I'd be like, oh well, okay, I know how to rest. Like okay, I rest for a bit, and then it just kept going like that, and more and more and more, and yeah, I climbed phenomenally, and like, there we go.
Well, you said you've been doing more endurance training recently to help build up that kind of, you know, you're just saying you didn't know that you could climb for 8 minutes, 7 minutes 30 on the wall. What kind of endurance training have you been doing recently?
Well, like I said, I've been training my girlfriend, D3DkYS5OCK, and also the French climber, Romain de Grange. And Romain is a very strong climber, and we have quite different styles. I mean, I climb quickly. Usually he's a lot slower and can hold on to the crimps a lot longer. I mean, me, when I'm on crimps, I get pumped, and he's resting. This route, it wasn't really crimps. It was a lot of compression, a lot of good holds, and yeah, compression again. And just being with him makes me learn, and watching them climb, watching my girlfriend climb, I'm trying to pick it all up. And then for this one, it just worked. I mean, there was a few clutch heel looks.
I've been interrupted by Jakob.
And yeah, I mean, and I come away second, so.
Another fantastic result for you after the 3rd at Chamonix last week and 2nd again now.
Yeah,
you must be feeling pretty good now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm over the moon.
Well, what's the plan from now on? I mean, obviously you're living over here at the moment with the missus and with training with Ramon de Grange. Where are you going to go from here?
Well, now I kind of go back into boulder mode. I have a few competitions. I don't attend IMS. I'm going to Munich or Stuttgart for the Adidas Rockstars. Then there's the Munich Bouldering World Cup, and then there's Paris. So I'm going to keep my level of training for routes where it is right now. I'm I'm going to do a couple more days of bouldering, and hopefully I'll be ready for Paris.
Well, you are definitely one of those climbers that you're very much a kind of training kind of addict. You love doing that training and tailoring yourself and your physique to what kind of discipline you're working at. What are you going to do when it comes to Paris and you're going to do all three?
Well, for Paris, I mean, I found that whenever I'm in route shape, bouldering is mostly a mental game. I mean, in semifinals is the hardest round. With 6 of finals, I mean, I've seen people that don't train for bouldering in finals, and then there's obviously Kilian Fischuber, who's the god of bouldering. And so now I feel I'm confident. I mean, I'm going to have a great lead season. It's off to a great start, and so, I mean, I hope I'll just do good in both. I mean, you can never tell. I know it's going to be, I have a qualification on every day in semifinals, and if I make finals, yeah, it's going to be a really intense 5 days, but I did it in China 3 years ago. And I'm ready for the whole adventure.
I know there's a lot of people in the chat room, just to wrap up, from Canada, watching from the home turf. Have you got any plans about going back over and doing any climbing over there?
I mean, I go back whenever I can, but as you said, like, I'm addicted to training, and I'll be over here for most of it. And then when I take my 2 months off during the winter, I go home for Christmas. I'll hopefully get to Squamish. I don't know, maybe I'll go to Waco. I usually head over to ABS Nationals, but it's all just part of my relaxing. I mean, when I do World Cup competition for 10 months, it's nice to just take a break and go.
Sean, congratulations on the silver medal. Thank you for letting us witness some world-class climbing tonight. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Okay, Sean McCall, I think we're going to bring up the results for you just briefly. Oh no, not updated yet, so I'm going to try and find some other climbers. Who am I looking for now?
Sur l'estrade, on va vous parler un petit peu de tout ce qui va se dérouler en France.
Ah, Sachi, there he is.
Représentant aussi et président du club de Briançon, sous vos applaudissements. On va faire monter Bernard Lanas, je crois, qui va nous rejoindre. Il y a Josiane Faure, la présidente de l'association des internationaux d'escalade, qui va monter sur scène.
I've managed to find Sachiyama.
Applaudissements pour la présidente de l'association.
Thank you for coming across as I come waving at you across the courtyard.
Yeah.
How's the chin?
Josiane.
Chin. Seeing helps me.
Bien sûr, on est chez lui.
Is it hurt?
Applaudissements pour Monsieur
Yeah, now,
Gérard Fromm,
no feeling, almost.
aussi.
A little bit pain when I smile.
Gérard Fromm,
Yeah.
sur la ville de
Which is a lot.
Briançon.
How are you after coming down from the wall? 2 gold medals in a week.
Yeah. When I finish, I didn't know that I'm first because I'm too much concentrating and I couldn't hear. So, surprised. Yeah.
Are you going to be joining us at the next one?
Yeah, yes, for sure.
Are you coming back to the bouldering as well for the for Munich?
Boulder, no.
No, not for the bouldering.
Yeah, this year only lead.
Okay, and what about the World Championships in Paris coming up?
For sure, I joined.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Congratulations, 2 golds in a week's time. Sachiyama, our gold medalist here. We're going to go off on another roam again. I'm going to hand over to the president of the IFSC right now. I'll be back with me in a little while.
Qu'est-ce qu'il faut dire? Tu t'es en train de poser la question classique, non? L'olympisme, oui, on vient de terminer le questionnaire olympique. Nous avons aussi ici des collègues, les collègues du karaté. On est tous en course, on espère bien de gagner, bien sûr. On y croit. Et après des compétitions comme ça, on garde la motivation avec le soutien du public, des grimpeurs. On fait le possible effectivement pour gagner et rentrer au programme des Jeux Olympiques en 2020. Merci à tous.
Applaudissements pour le président de l'IFFC. Alors, grosse année, bien sûr, pour le territoire français. Paris-Bercy, en septembre, il va nous en parler, notre président. Et puis, il n'y a pas que Paris-Bercy, ça va être une année magnifique en France. Applaudissements pour Pierre You, le président de la FFME.
Ouais. Avant de lancer un peu sur ces sujets-là, moi je tiens à remercier Monsieur le maire de Briançon pour son accueil, le club de l'ICEB et les internationaux d'escalade pour leur réalisation, et merci à vous. Alors pour l'avenir, bien entendu, c'est Bercy au mois de septembre, le 15 et 16 septembre, gros événement pour la fédération, mais non seulement pour la fédération, c'est aussi pour l'escalade au niveau international, puisque ce sera le dernier rendez-vous avec les commissions d'évaluation du CIO pour l'éventualité olympique. Donc excessivement important. Ensuite, on aura championnat d'Europe jeune à Gémezac au mois de novembre. Et on va continuer ensuite en 2013 et 2014. 2013, vous aurez le championnat d'Europe de diff et de vitesse à Chamonix. Et 2014, alors bien sûr ce sera plus loin, ce sera à Nouméa. Et on aura le championnat du monde jeune à Nouméa, donc en Nouvelle-Calédonie, au titre de l'Océanie. Donc de grands rendez-vous pour la fédération, de grands rendez-vous aussi en France avec les championnats, les Coupes de France. Donc merci à tous les clubs. Et je tiens aussi à remercier ici plus particulièrement
Well, I'm just pulling over our bronze medalist Jakob Schubert.
Je suppose dans la buvette là-bas.
Going to have a brief chat with him. I was chatting to Vincent, the event organizer. Here we are. Okay, we're back. Jakob, say hello to the world.
Hey, what's up?
How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I'm a little disappointed since I timed out and I think I could have done some more moves, but in the end it's the third place, so you can never be disappointed with a third place or with a podium, I guess.
How were you feeling in that one section there? How were you feeling when you were at that point on the wall? You looked so strong. I think everyone in the chat room thought you were going to send it all the way to the top there.
Yeah, well, I was really focused and I thought the same thing, actually. I think I knew I can do it, you know. I was really psyched for these last moves because you didn't even have to clip anymore. So I felt like, all right, let's go, man, let's go. And I was psyched, and yeah, then they told me to jump down, and yeah, I was pretty disappointed at that moment, and I didn't think that it's going to be a third place. But yeah, I mean, in the end, it's my mistake. So yeah.
What kind of training are you going to go into now? I mean, there's been a lot of conjecture in the chat. I mean, around lead climbing and it becoming kind of speed climbing because it's become a time thing. I mean, is there any training that you would specialize in to push that time barrier?
It would have been easy to climb faster till there. I think if I knew that I have only like 1 minute left, I would have went faster. But
I could see you at the end, because you heard the crowd, they picked up behind you and you were trying to push, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I had no idea up there that I have only like 10 seconds left, you know. But yeah.
Okay, that's cool. But the third place, you know, and you held that all the way through. I mean, how were you feeling when Ramon Julien got onto the wall?
Well, I mean, I feel pretty bad for him actually, because I think that move was pretty unfair. He's so much smaller than the others, and that move was really easy for me. And he had to jump, which was like so much harder. And yeah, I don't know.
What were you planning?
I would have been fourth at least, I think.
Yeah. What were you planning to do at the final hold on the wall up there? That final one. There's a dyno, and that kind of almost looks like a sloper. Were you going to go for that with one or two? I mean, have you got anything planned in your head from that discussion at the start with Magnus?
Well, I don't really think about the last move until I'm there, you know. Before I have to get focused on the moves I'm doing, and then on the last move, I think nothing would have stopped me for the last move, because you're too psyched with like I don't know how many thousand people behind you.
I think with Matt Chamonix, there's a lot of people.
Especially there are the houses like beside here, and
that's a fantastic introduction.
Yeah, the whole cheering stays here, you know.
So what kind of stuff do you guys talk about when you come out for that little kind of athlete viewing the wall section? You and Magnus together a lot for that. I know you two have known each other a long time. What kind of things do you talk about when you get that section of time to come and look at the wall?
Well, I mean, there are some sections which we really didn't really know how to do, and then we talk like, okay, I think you do it like that. He tells me how he thinks to do it, and yeah, together we get the best solution on every section, and I think it worked out well for both of us.
That's one of the things I love about climbing in general, is that it is competitive, but you all seem to just kind of get on with everybody. There's no kind of like dislike towards each other. You all just wish each other the best, like you just said with Ramon getting on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel the same thing. That's what I love about climbing as well. I mean, in bouldering or in lead, whatever, in which discipline, all the athletes are pretty good friends, I think, and they tell everything like, you know, that it's like, everyone thinks in his head like, if everyone knows everything, I'm gonna win because I'm the strongest, you know. So everyone tells everyone everything, and then we have the fairest competition.
Yeah, and personally they're thinking, I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are your plans from here then? Where are you going to go from here? Obviously we're going to see you in the World Championships in Paris, yeah?
Yeah, of course. I mean, before we have the World Cup in Imst, I'm gonna train for that, of course. But yeah, the big focus is for Paris. I saw again, I'm feeling good, in good shape, but of course I will work hard in the next few weeks as well, and yeah, hopefully I'll get my first victory in the lead competitions soon.
Added to the many other ones, yeah?
Yeah, but not this season, so yeah.
Okay, what about Munich? I'm just going to have another question about that for the bouldering. We're going to see you there again, yeah?
Yeah, I'll go there.
Yeah, Munich as well. Jakob, congratulations, bronze medal. Brilliant to see you. Thank you for the world-class climbing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Jakob Schubert there. Well, guys, we're kind of starting to wind down here now. I mean, the president's doing the announcements. We're going to get set for the medal ceremony that's just coming up. I hope you've all enjoyed it in the chat room. There's a huge crowd here, thousands and thousands of people that I'm sure will be here all the way through this event. Remember, get yourself onto the Twitter for the ifsc.tv page on Twitter there. Get yourself onto 24/7 TV on the Facebook page as well there, and like some things on there, because we're going to be bringing you behind-the-scenes photographs and things for what happens in between events here in general. We give you all the facts, so get yourself onto 24/7 TV Facebook page and onto the IFSC page on Twitter as well. And remember, everything that we film for you is free and accessible on YouTube, and these will all be on YouTube very shortly after this one as well. Just go to ifsc.tv. Now, the results as they stand, we're still in that 20-minute period just after the competition where we have to have that section and wait for any appeals. They're looking like they're going to be pretty solid at the moment, and so just wait around for 20 minutes and then get yourself onto ifsc-climbing.org and you can find all the updated results. We're going to go to the ceremony right now. I'll see you in a little while. All right, guys.
Et alors attention, troisième place ce soir, ici en plein cœur de Briançon, membre de l'équipe de France. Un tonnerre d'applaudissements s'il vous plaît pour Charlotte Durif. Charlotte, on va finir avec une musique qui fait rêver, avec le style Star Wars, super. Non, le public, non. T'es prêt pour la deuxième couche là? Star Wars. Nous, on va hurler de plus en plus. Are you ready? Deuxième place, c'est une légende. Elle arrive de la belle équipe autrichienne. Second place tonight from Austria. Make some noise for Johanna Ernst. Le président qui remet la médaille, peut-être la musique pour la première place. Charlie, tu vas chanter. Et alors attention, messieurs, dames, vainqueur, deuxième podium de sa carrière en Coupe du Monde, je voudrais un tonnerre d'applaudissements pour celle qui remporte la finale ce soir de l'équipe de France. Applaudissements pour Hélène Janico. Et ça fait plaisir, bon merci.
Je voudrais juste vous dire que cette année, plutôt que de remettre un trophée banal, nous avons tenu à honorer nos vainqueurs avec un trophée particulier qui représente un V. C'est le V de Vauban. Vauban qui est celui qui a construit tout l'effort de Briançon. C'est aussi le V de la victoire et c'est le V de la verticalité. Voilà.
Merci monsieur le maire. Allez, le V en tout cas pour celle qui a mérité ce soir. Hélène Janico, première, Johanna Ernst, deuxième et Charlotte Durif, troisième. Mesdames et messieurs, je vous demande d'accueillir l'hymne national français. mesdemoiselles, elles vont redescendre sur le côté et puis rester avec nous au pied de l'estrade et on va accueillir maintenant le podium masculin de cette soirée. Journal en perd son nom aussi. Alors attention messieurs, dames, dernier podium de cette soirée, 3e place. On va faire rentrer d'abord les médaillés sous vos applaudissements. Les garçons qui nous ont fait une superbe finale de Golgoth. Applaudissements, ils arrivent s'il vous plaît derrière le podium. Tout le public de Briançon. Et voilà les champions de la soirée. Et c'est un podium fabuleux. Trois superbes champions. 3e place ce soir. Il avait remporté la compétition l'année dernière. Il arrive de la belle équipe autrichienne. Applaudissements pour monsieur Jakob Schubert, third place. La légende Jakob Schubert. Allez, notre vice-présidente Juliette Payet qui a remis la médaille. L'incroyable donc Jakob Schubert qui termine 3e, on l'applaudit encore une fois s'il vous plaît. 2e place et 2e podium de cette saison pour lui en difficulté, il arrive du Canada. 2e ce soir, big up pour Sean McCall, le Canadien. 2e podium de la saison. Ah, il va être une star lui aussi, ça va être dur d'aller le chercher à Paris-Bercy. 3 podiums en bloc et 2 podiums en div déjà, et c'est que le début de la saison. Et alors pour le vainqueur, ce qui est en train de se passer est extraordinaire. Il n'avait pas fait de podium depuis très longtemps, enfin de victoire. Il en enchaîne 2 coups sur coup. Je voudrais vraiment que vous le mettiez en valeur. First place tonight from Japan. Make some noise for Sashiyama. 2e victoire japonais. Incroyable. Et mesdames et messieurs, je vous demande d'accueillir l'hymne national du Japon. Applaudissements pour le Japonais qui remporte la 2e victoire, le Canadien 2e, et l'Autrichien Jakob Schubert 3e, très beau podium. Merci beaucoup messieurs, mais ça n'est pas terminé, je voudrais qu'on applaudisse l'organisateur de cet événement, de cette Coupe du Monde depuis plusieurs années, la présidente de l'association. Une ovation s'il vous plaît pour monsieur Philippe Ligeron sur scène. Allez, puis tous les bénévoles qui l'entourent, Philippe Ligeron, il est là, non, Fifi, allez. On se met là avec notre présidente de l'association et Fifi, non, c'est toujours toi qui dois finir en pleurant. Et il essaie de détourner la chose là. Jean Velu qui était le partenaire officiel de la saison dernière. Le champagne va couler à flot. Fifi, on veut le mot de l'organisateur. Il y a beaucoup de gens à remercier. Et puis, juste avant de filer la parole et de donner le micro à Philippe Ligeron, on va faire le podium du National Team Ranking, donc c'est la meilleure nation qui a brillé. Il n'y a qu'une place à faire, il n'y a pas 3 places. La meilleure nation qui a brillé sur cette Coupe du Monde. Alors, messieurs, pour le National Team Ranking, la nation qui remporte la Coupe du Monde. Applaudissements pour la France. La France qui remporte la compète, l'entraîneur de l'équipe de France qui va monter avec Romain Desgranges. Applaudissements pour Corentin Logoff, notre entraîneur national. Sur le podium, Romain Desgranges qui est en finale ce soir. La France, vainqueur du National Team Ranking. Donc monsieur le maire qui remet le trophée, et puis pendant ce moment-là, Philippe, avance-toi avec moi. Et le mot, parce que c'est des grands moments d'émotion, t'as encore réussi ton pari, une semaine de bonheur, une semaine de météo parfaite, des bénévoles qui n'ont rien lâché, des techniciens de partout, du professionnalisme. Il n'a pas du tout envie de parler, Philippe Ligeron, c'est une catastrophe.
Today, Top 30 is the only company in the world able to design, produce, set up and manage a top-level competition. Everything within the same company. Everything with the trustworthiness and professionalism that an official competition requires. Everything Top 30. Top 30.